Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Bit of a different one today. We're going to be doing some front brakes and pads, some piston pads on the Mrs.'s Golf. And this is a Golf GTD Mark 6. I'm not a mechanic myself, so don't take it as gospel, everything I'm doing. It's just a DIY job. So I'll try to go through and explain a little bit about what I'm doing. So the car's jacked up, I've got an axle stand underneath the subframe. Before the car's been jacked up, I've also loosened all the wheel nuts off over breaker bar, just so it's a bit easier once it's in the air. And here we're just taking the wheel off now. So I just pop the wheel underneath the car slightly, just as a bit of extra safety, just as a precaution. So you can see the disc's quite worn. Just having a look. So we've got a sensor there, 2 bolts for the carrier, and the 2 bolts on the caliper as well that we need to get off. So the bolts on the back of the caliper, and these are a T30, as you can see. Just need to take the caps off the little rubber bungs, and yeah, the bolts are behind there. As you can see, I've disconnected the sensor as well. So we've got the bolts off the back of the caliper, and here I'm just pushing the piston back with a flathead screwdriver. Probably wouldn't do it this method if you weren't changing the discs as well, but as the discs are going to be changed, I'm just barring off the disc and pushing that piston back in there. I didn't video as well, but we've also opened the brake reservoir in the engine bay, just so when we're pushing that piston back it goes back nice and freely. See there as well, when taking the pad out, that one just clips into the back of the caliper, but I don't know if you saw there, but you can see the big grooves on it from the back of the disc. Still plenty of life left on these, but you can see on that top one there, them grooves, the back of the disc was just really worn. So whoever's changed the pads in the past should have changed the discs at the same time as well. You can see the back of the disc there, how scarred it is, corroded. The next job is just to take the 2 bolts off the back of the carrier. doesn't show in the video, but these were really tight. Had to get a breaker bar on the back of them, which I've done already. I didn't record, so they definitely weren't as easy as that to take off. These bolts at the back are a 21mm. So just the locator bolt in the middle of the disc, that's a T30. The disc can be quite seized on, so just give it a few light taps with the hammer just to release it. So the front of the disc doesn't actually look too bad, it did have a bit of a lip on, but the back of the disc is terrible. So next job is just to clean up all the surfaces. I've just got a wire brush here. I'm just going to put a new disc on, it sits nice and flush with the bearing. Just got a little bit of copper grease here, just to put on the face of the bearing, just so next time I change the discs, they're a little bit easier to get off. So new discs, there we went with Pagids, or Pagids, however you pronounce it. So just lining this up with the holes, just so I can get that locator screwed back in. see we're just keeping them falling off. Just popped a wheel bolt in there just to stop it sliding off. So next job is just to do everything back in reverse. We still need to clean the caliper and the carrier off, so I'll just get that sorted now. Okay, I'm just using a wire brush for this, just so the surfaces are nice and flush, so they sit nicer when we put them back on. And where the pads sit in the carrier as well, just to make sure they can move freely. Now it's all cleaned up, just putting the carrier back on. So same as before, just in reverse. So these are the 21mm bolts. And just putting them in finger tight to start with, just so we're not cross-threading them. So we've got the pads back in here. I didn't film actually putting the pads in, but they just slide onto the carrier, and I put a bit of copper grease on the tabs at the side just so they can move around freely as well. So I'm just putting a little bit of copper grease on the back of the pad, just to help the caliper slide on and just so the pads don't seize onto the caliper. We also gave the caliper a good wire brush over as well, but again didn't film that. So just putting the caliper bolts back in the back, and these were the T35s as mentioned before. And there we have it. All done. The retaining clip back on the caliper as well. And then the wheel to go back on. Thanks for watching.